Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another Optc video, and in today's video, we're doing a little bit of a discussion video after the producer video that just did go live as of yesterday, and some of the things that Yoshi did talk about. So, in today's video, we're going to be focusing on the state of the game of Global and Japan moving forward of One Piece Treasure Cruise, as I do play both versions of the game. So, before we do jump into this one, I do want to let you guys know that this is just my thoughts and opinions on the state of the game as of me already playing through the Japan content and sort of giving my thoughts and ideas on what has been revealed in the producer video. So in the producer video, the big thing that I did like about that producer video was the transparency. So the amount of transparency that Yoshi had for the timeline of Global moving forward was really, really good. I actually really enjoyed that. The downside to the producer video, and this is my biggest knock with the whole producer video, was the amount of hype that got built up for this particular video was actually dumb. Like, we were expecting like One Piece Day Legend across both versions of the game like last year, a little bit of information on French Anniversary, but nothing like basically Yoshi just sitting there and talking about what's to come and what the timeline is going to look like, as we pretty much already knew that. It's just basically being confirmed. And while I do like that the transparency was there and Yoshi basically put it all on the table, I do think he could have easily just done this in a letter. Like, it could have easily been done in just like a producer letter to the global community about what is to come, and then this producer video, you could have just targeted One Piece Day and the new Straw Hat legend that is coming for Japan. But we'll touch on that towards the back end of the video, as I do want to talk about that legend moving forward. But let's have a bit of a chat of the state of the game at the moment. So, as of what we did see yesterday in the producer video, the games, both Japan and Global, will eventually be on the same timeline. And from what we know, it is going to be day dot, the same content releasing at the same time for both versions of the game. Now, once the dust settles, once we get from A to B, that is going to be really cool. I'm for that. Even though I do play both JP and Global, and eventually I'll probably have to give up one of my accounts, so stay tuned for that. We'll probably do like a giveaway. I'm undecided which account I want to sort of stick with, but we'll talk about that and why I'm still undecided as we get through this video. But once we get from A to B, it's going to be really cool. Like, it's going to be nice as a content creator. Like, it's going to be cool having availability to all content, going out to a bigger, a wider audience that plays both Global and Japan. I think that's going to be really cool. The big downside I do have to this is how we're going to get from A to B. The time frame. The travel, as we will refer to it in this video. So from the travel from A to B, it's going to get messy. Everything's going to be sped up on Global, and we have seen the transparency as we'll be receiving Moria, Blackbeard, Magellan for French Anniversary, which honestly for me is just a huge skip for free-to-play players and most people that spend money in the game too. Like, maybe go for Magellan if you love PvP, but like otherwise just hard skip. August, we're looking at the Capone Pirates and Bonnie. Both are very good legends, but again, easy skip. And then in September's the big one. Now, if you're free-to-play or you only spend a little bit of money in the game, September is where you want to spend all of your gems. September is the release of the Anniversary Legends. We have the Luffy, the Law, and the Kid. We've got Ace Sabo in the middle of that month, and then the back end of the month we have Whitebeard and Shanks, who, in my opinion, all of those legends are the most valuable legends in the game. If you have all of those legends, you can basically just build color teams of all of those varieties, and you're hunky-dory. Not to mention it is a Super Sugo Fest, so those Anniversary Legends won't be coming back, as well as Roger and Odin coming back to the game as well. So if you are missing those legends, really good time to pick them up. Plus all the French Anniversary Legends, Bonnie, they're going to be on the banners, the part 1 banner of the Anniversary Legends. Capone Pirates will be on the Ace Sabo banner, so easy skip for that one. Make sure to save your gems for Ace Sabo if you do really want them, but again, I would spend them on Anniversary, as you just have the least amount of chance of being shafted. And then Whitebeard Shanks, that's totally up to you if you want to summon for that unit. I'd probably skip that at the part 2 of the Anniversary, but again, that's up to you. By the time we hit October, we'll have the Germa Mugiwara event with Sanji and the Straw Hats that are all in those raid suits. And then by November, we'll have the new Toki Legend, who has just come out in Japan, as well as the new Straw Hats Legend that will actually be releasing like in a day's time as of me making this video. But the big thing about these games getting on the same page and that travel time is free-to-play players are really going to struggle about where to spend their gems. And honestly, like, I'm going to tell you guys right now, save for September, spend on the Anniversary banners, and then depending on your box, go from there. But the thing about Global compared to Japan And the thing with Japan is, right, like, if we are ideally getting the games on the same timeline by December, what is Japan going to do for the next 5 months? Now, I, myself, feel like it's very unrealistic that we're going to have both games on the same timeline by December. I just don't see it happening. Maybe by March or April if they start doing double content, like double treasure maps, double Kazunas, double legend releases. But that's another whole issue within itself that we will talk about in a second. But the travel from A to B on global with the terrible gem sales that we have, like, they're not even like an eighth, not even a tenth to what Japan has. Yes, I agree. Global has better banner structures and makes the banners more enticing to pull on, but at the end of the day, you're still playing with Fate, you're still playing with RNG, and even with a good banner, like, I've seen it done with many people before, it can still take you 30 multis, it can still take you 25 multis, even with a good structured banner where luck is in your favor and the numbers are on your side, you can still get shafted. Now, I don't like to compare the pair, but, like, if we look at Dokkan, for example, Dokkan have okay gem sales, like, they're not terrible, but their banner structures, especially for stuff like Anniversary with buy it 3 multis, get your 4th one for free, as well as tickets on the global side of the game, that is arguably, like, the best structure ever for a banner, right? But you can still get shafted. Like, me, myself, I am so deep on the Vegeta banner, and I finally got my first copy, but there is no pity system. The thing with One Piece, there is still a pity system. So if you're free to play and you really want a unit, ideally you want to be summoning to the point where you can get that unit guaranteed. So that way you have a contingency plan if you do get shafted, even though the numbers are in your favor. That is my big thing. If they are going to rush all this content on global, they need to entice pay-to-play players to spend the money to get these units, where they might normally stop because they want to save for the next banner, as they know that that legend's either going to be on that banner or they're going to have a better chance of pulling the next better legend. Now, sure, pay-to-play players are probably going to spend their money anyway. Free-to-play players are going to save their gems anyway, right? But from a financial point of view, the big thing that I can see the big reason that Bandai's doing this is to get both games on the same wavelength, to remove the foresight that free-to-play players have, enticing them to spend a little bit more money. But if the gem sales suck and there's nothing really that enticing for them to spend on, they're not going to spend that money and they're just going to take the L, which eventually can push them away from the community, eventually push them away from the game. From pay-to-play players' point of view, it's going to get very, very expensive. Now, I have personally been through this period on Japan. I did use a bit of a cheat code, but to get our hands on all of those units, then it is going to be a bit of a struggle. But nevertheless, like I said, you can still get luck, you can still have RNG on your side, and you can still build these units even if you're free to play, if you're not free to play. At the end of the day, it all does come down to luck. Talking about free to play players, though, the struggle that I do see in this travel time as well, getting the games on the same timeline, is the content, the drip of content. Now, whether JP just keeps their same schedule and Global catches up, or if JP slows down their schedule, Global speeds up, whatever the purpose, one of the games is going to suffer. Whether it be Global speeding up, as the only way that I can see the games getting on the same timeline is if they start doing double content. Stuff like double treasure maps, double Kazunas, double legend releases, which then again is going to hinder either the banner structures, it's going to hinder pay-to-play players, and it's really going to make free-to-play players struggle to actually get their hands on a healthy amount of gems to summon on these banners where they could get the unit guaranteed. As losing out on a treasure map, having 2 units per treasure map is a massive, massive loss of resources. Having 2 Kazuna units in the same Kazuna boxes is another massive, massive loss of resources, especially for newer players. For us endgame players, it's not that big of a deal, but again, it still restricts stuff like gems, it still restricts stuff like tablets, and all those things that you guys can use to bolster your account. So I'm not a huge fan of that double content sort of stuff, but if one is going to catch up to the other, I do think that is probably the only thing that we can do moving forward, and I really hope, for Japan players' sake, they don't slow down the content, which I don't think they're going to do, but it is a possibility. Now, the big thing for me about them speeding up the game is the gem sales on global. So, with the gem sales on global just being absolutely atrocious, like they're not even 1/10 as good as what the Japan ones are, if they are going to release all of these banners and all these units while restricting content, for most players, the only way they're going to be looking at restocking their gem piles is by buying gems. And unfortunately, if they don't have access to good gem sales, it's going to restrict them from doing so, which then, if you don't pull the unit, it's a bad feeling. Like, I've definitely been there. It's a bad feeling, and it makes you not want to play the game, which is then going to push away people from the community and push away those players that are just not exactly being super happy about their summons or their teams and stuff moving forward. So that's my big knock on the whole travel period. But like I said, once we get from A to B, it will be okay and it will be fine. Now, another thing that I had an issue a bit with the producer video was there was nothing about One Piece Day. Now, One Piece Day should be a giant celebration for both versions of the game, even if it's only for 24 hours. I do understand that bringing both of these games to the same, like these banners on the same timeline can be an issue for content, but I don't understand why just for one day they just don't have the same legend release, just one piece of content around that legend, like a challenge event, release it both on the same day and have it run for just 1 week. I do not see an issue with this. It doesn't affect the structure at all. Just have it as a standalone event for both versions of the game. Now, with the new legend that is releasing on Japan, we will talk about that at the end of the video. Not exactly super impressive, but nevertheless, it is still a very cool unit. Now, talking about the positives of the video. So there are some positives to this video, like I said. Once we get from A to B, it's going to be pretty cool getting the same content at the same time as Japan and having access to those units on release of day dot. So there's no waiting 5 months for the newest legend. But the big positives are September. Now, the anniversary banner. Now, the anniversary banner was arguably like one of the best banners we've seen in a little while. Now, there were a couple of, there was obviously 3 big draws to this banner, being Luffy, Law, and Kid. Now, talking about these banners and talking about these units, this is where I would be saving your gems. Whether you're free to play, whether you're pay to play, anything like that, this is where I would be saving your gems for, as these banners were not only very, very good value, had a lot of very good legends on it. If you do skip French Anniversary, you're going to have access to those 3 new legends. You had Bonnie on part 1. So there was a lot of very, very good legends. And if RNG's in on your side, you can get a lot of luck. But let's quickly talk about these units. Now, Luffy was the quick free spirit fighter unit that did come out. All of these units are Super Sugos, by the way. His captain ability boosts quick fighter and free spirits by 5 times, HP by 1.3. If you hit it perfect with the recovery orb, you'll still heal. And then his special does 300 times his attack and typeless damage to all enemies. Boosts the attack of quick free spirit fighters by 2.75, and then boosts own base attack depending on how many recovery orbs you've used in normal attacks, up to 100 times for 1000 base stats. So the more recovery orbs you eat, the more base stats you get, which is pretty cool. He has a super type that gives quick free spirit and fighters 1 turn of cooldown and 1 times to the chain multiplier. Now, the big draw to this unit is actually his PvP. He's got hunger, he's got slot binds, he's got the last tap mechanic, which is new to these units as well. His last tap is actually pretty decent. It will, where does it say it? Yeah, okay, so the last tap on the final stage boosts his own base attack by 1000 for 1 turn and then changes own orb, including block, into a Wano slot. So if he can do some Unga Booga, some really big damage. But the big draw to this unit is actually his Pirate Rumble. He does level 5 HP to quick characters, level 5 HP to himself. And then when a character is defeated, he gives himself level 5 attack up. And when there are 70 seconds or less remaining, he does level 7 speed to quick. But his special is absolutely insane. If you partner this guy up with Magellan, he's an absolute monster. Level 7 attack up for himself for 5 seconds, 2 times attack to all enemies in a large radial range, and then 70% chance to grant haste to 2 quick characters, which is really, really nice, especially if you do partner that up with Magellan. Having both of these units with haste is actually really, really strong. In my opinion, though, I would not be summoning for Luffy as, well, if you want all of them, summon for all of them, but if you had to pick between any of these units, I wouldn't pick Luffy. Unless you love Pirate Rumble and you have Magellan, you have Kaido, you have Versakano, and you are running that crazy team, Luffy basically gets justified by Ace Sabo's release. Now, Ace Sabo being a phenomenal unit, and in my opinion, probably the most valuable unit in the game at the moment, as Ace Sabo just make Luffy infinitely better. They are a shooter free spirit, and a free spirit striker, and their captain ability is arguably one of the best in the game. They can remove 10 turns of despair as Ace, and they can remove 10 turns of special blind as Sabo. They're a 4.25 flat rate with a matching orb, and then 4 times otherwise. As a dual captain, they're a 4.5 without an orb, 5 times with an orb. Their special reduces blind, despair, silence by 5 turns, changes block orbs into matching, becomes Ace Sabo for 3 turns, and if you have a Monkey D. Luffy as a member or support on them, so you can use like any Luffy as a support, they will amplify the orbs of shooter and free spirit characters by 2.5 for 3 turns. Otherwise, 2.5 for 1 turn. Otherwise, these guys are amazing in Rumble as well. They're another phenomenal Rumble unit for the Rainbow team. And lots of people are very, very keen for this release. However, I don't think their banner is justified summoning on, especially with the rush of content. But the character is so powerful that if you want to throw a few multis at it, like, I'm not going to discredit that at all. The big thing with Luffy, though, is that without this particular unit, the Luffy does struggle quite a bit. Now, Luffy's still very, very good. He's still probably the best quick captain in the game, but with stuff like Kaido versus Kaido, you can get away with beating stuff without Luffy, as you can easily just use the driven quick team and stuff like that to get around it. The next unit we're going to talk about is Kid. Now, Kid for me was arguably the most fun legend to come out of the anniversary, but he is a little bit how you going in terms of what he does. So he's a striker driven and he's a strength unit, which is pretty cool. He reduces the cooldown of your crew by 3 turns at the start of the fight. So he's a very, very fast captain. With 2 of them, you get 6 turns of cooldown, which is great. He boosts strikers, drivens, and strength characters by 5 times. And if HP is 50% at the start of the turn, below 50%, he reduces damage by 25%. So that's huge. Being below 50%, which is very easy to do with this unit, you get a lot of damage reduction, which is really, really nice. He is special if you have above 51% HP at the start of the turn. He's going to reduce the current HP by 50%, so that's where you can get the damage reduction. He activates his own special cooldown to max, deals 100 times his attack and typeless damage to all enemies, ignoring barriers and negating abilities. He's going to boost the attack of strength, striker, and driven characters by 2.5. If you already have an attack boost, he's an orb booster, and if you already have an attack and an orb booster, he becomes a color affinity for 2 turns. So as you can see here, like with this guy, you want to basically use his special, get down, heal a bit, use his special again, heal again, and then use his special again. With 2 of them, it's very easy to do this. And you can get a lot of damage output just with your captains and then just build the team around utility. He's very, very good for Rumble for the strength team. And his last tap basically lets him deal 4.5 times. The chain lock becomes 4.5, and then he deals damage to all enemies. So he's an AoE character. Now, this particular unit I would target last, as most of the time you are just going to run Versakano. Like, Versakano is just going to be a much better option for the driven team. Strikers, once Whitebeard comes out, I do think Whitebeard is a much better striker leader. And for strength have stuff like Versace, and you can get away with not using Kid, even though he is a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. The final unit of Anniversary is Law. Now, Law, in my opinion, is the one that most people should be targeting. Law has easily the best captain ability out of the 3 units. He's a dex booster, a slasher, and a cerebral booster for 5 times. His name is Law, so he has a lot of very, very good supports, and his special has a very, very intricate effect. But as a captain, he's a 5 times to slashers, dex, and cerebrals. He makes strength and quick orbs beneficial. Recovers 0.5 his recovery at the end of turn every time you hit a perfect. So very, very good, especially because you can use stuff like the Aura Jackson and the Zunisha, which is great. His special cuts the current HP of one enemy by 10%, so he does damage, which is great. He will give himself a Dex Orb through Block Orbs, and then boost the attack of Dex, Cerebral, and Slashes by 2.75, and gives increased damage taken by 1.5 to the enemy through all immunities. So, no matter what, you're doing an extra 1.5 times damage, which is insanely powerful, like ridiculously powerful. His super special will recover 25% of his max HP, allowing overheal, and changes Block Orbs into matching orbs, locks those orbs, and transforms Dex into super type Dex. I forgot to talk about Kid's super typing as well, by the way. He just gives you a full board of orbs as long as you're below 50% HP. But not that amazing. His Rumble, very, very good for the Dex team, but his last tap is huge. At level 5, he adds 20% of the enemy's current HP to this character's normal attack damage, reducing the defense of all enemies by 100%, and then doing 3 times his attack to enemies with defense down. So that's huge. This last tap can actually go through resilience as well, because that 20% is like end of turn damage depending on the start of the enemy's HP when you start attacking with your chain. So Law can just do stupid amounts of damage. When we do get the super boss on global as well for Anniversary, this Law is insane. I was doing like 10 billion damage with my Law, which is absolutely nuts. And all you got to do is be above 70% HP. With his super typing, it's very easy to do that as well. So this Law is definitely the Anniversary unit you guys want to be aiming for. But like I said, it's up to you guys where you want to spend your gems, as all the Anniversary legends are very, very good. The final thing that I do want to talk about... Oh, I didn't have this up. Sorry, guys. The final thing I do want to talk about before I do wrap this video up, it has gone for a little while, so I do apologize. This was meant to be like a quick sort of video talking about the producer video. But we will touch on the Straw Hats Legends. So the new Straw Hats Legends that is coming out on Japan for One Piece Day is a little bit underwhelming in my opinion. We're also getting a buggy, a clash buggy, which is cool because we don't get enough clashes in the game, to be honest. I don't know why my computer's going so slow. There we go. So we got the Straw Hats. Now, the big downside to this particular unit, in my opinion, is the fact that there is 10 characters within one unit. Now, the art looks fantastic, by the way, but there is 10 characters in one unit that all have very, very good representation. Now, yes, I do understand that you do have access to all of these characters' supports in one unit, which is great. Really, really good. But then you are also losing out on all of those characters' supports on the other units that you could potentially put on the crew, which kind of sucks. Now, this particular unit is a Psy, where are his tags? I can't see his tags. A Psy Fighter Free Spirit unit. And ideally, it's just like a log Luffy looking artwork. Luffy's pretty much just the sprite. I don't imagine the other Straw Hats will be there at all. But his captain ability is a 4x captain, HP 1.2 rainbow, which is nice, and 5 times to themselves. Now, I don't understand why this is not just 4.5 or a flat 5 times boost. But nevertheless, look, it is what it is. Unfortunately, I'm just going to make this a bit bigger for you guys. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It is a 4x captain, which we haven't seen in a little while. But it is rainbow. You do need to remember that. But look, just looking at Ace Sabo, like Ace Sabo just automatically already better. When HP is full at the start of the attack, their own attack will have super effective against all types, which is pretty cool. So super effective against all types if you are at max HP. So ideally, you want to have like a way to get the overheal mechanic for this unit. They're special for 1 turn. The Crete will treat all color orbs as beneficial, which is cool. Boost the attack of the crew by 2.25, which kind of sucks. I would have liked 2.5, but it is what it is. Color affinity by 1.75. Again, I wish this was 2 times, but again, it is what it is. Delays all enemies for 1 turn. So I do think they are trying to like target one thing from each of the Straw Hats, and this is where Usopp comes into play, like delaying enemies. Luffy's the attack. The color affinity could, I don't know, be Nami. The all orbs could be Zoro. Like you get what I'm saying, though, right? You can then choose 1 debuff on the crew to remove 5 turns of that chosen debuff, which is really, really nice, but it's only 1 debuff. Like, it's just kind of like, why though? For 1 turn, reduces incoming damage by 70%, which is cool. Changes block orbs into matching orbs, and heals 4,343 HP. So, again, just a weird number. I do imagine that has something to do with One Piece, though. And then reduces 5 turns of defense up, damage reduction as well. So I really wish that they got rid of the delay. They had threshold slapped on here. I think that would make this unit infinitely better. They have a super type where if you use an attack booster on the crew, then you can get their super typing, which just does 1 turn of cooldown to the entire crew, 100 times their attacking type plus damage, which is kind of cool, but like, again, just why? Sailors, 100 attack, HP, and recovery, and treats Psy Orbs as beneficial to the entire crew. Their limit breaks is Ship Bind, as well as Hunger and Critical Hit. Their support is 10 to stats to all characters, which just dookie, man, just so dookie. Their Pirate Rumble special is healing, as well as damage, 50% chance to inflict movement seal, which is actually really, really good for the Psy team, so that's kind of nice. And then gives level 5 attack up as their Pirate Rumble ability, HP up in the start of the battle, defense up level 2 for Psy. So they're going to be pretty good for the Psy team. They're actually really good for the Psy team for Rumble, but shout out to Chaozu and Koala-san for the translations there as well. This is on our Discord, so if you guys do want to join our Discord, come on over. But the One Piece Day Legend, comparing it to lore last year, is a very, very lackluster in my opinion. There's a lot of things that I would sort of just, like minor changes that I would do to make this unit infinitely better, but they are going to age like fine wine as they do a lot of things, and they're going to be used in a lot of different circumstances. But my big issue with this unit is they are not broken. In my opinion, I would just run Roger. Like, honestly, if you're running a side team, I would probably just run Roger. As he just does basically everything this unit does, but better. Like, I understand, like, there is utility and stuff, but, like, you can use a Robin on a Roger team as well as a Sanji unit, which you can't do with this particular unit. So that kind of sucks. But look, it is what it is, as they like to say. But that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video, guys. Sorry for the rambling, but I did want to give my thoughts and opinions on basically what is going to be happening. Like I said, once the dust settles, this merge or this joining of timelines will be quite good for the game, and I do think it will be quite cool. But just the transition period of getting from A to B is going to be one big mess, and hopefully Bandai compensates Global with some nicer gem sales and doesn't slow down JP enough to make the JP players unhappy. But Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this whole thing. Like I said, this is all my thoughts and opinions. Everything's subject to change as we don't have full information on everything at the moment. But if you guys do have a thought, if you have any issues with anything that I've said, please let me know in the comment section below. There's no such thing as a wrong opinion. I am very open-minded about what everyone has to say, so I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts and opinions. But if you guys enjoyed this one, make sure to smash the like button for me if you're new to the channel. Hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lates!